June Park stood alone at the edge of the massive junkyard, staring at the endless field of discarded technology stretching across the asteroid's cratered surface. Metal parts gleamed under the distant sun, creating an ocean of forgotten machines. Ships of various shapes and sizes constantly arrived at Orbital Salvage Station 19, their alien crews eager to dump what they considered worthless before quickly departing. As the only human mechanic on the station, June had learned to ignore the stares and whispers. His small workshop sat at the far corner of the yard, filled with tools he had brought from Earth and others he had traded for or built himself. Unlike the sleek automated systems the aliens used, June preferred to feel the metal in his hands, to understand each part by touch. "Still using manual tools, primate?" The familiar mocking voice belonged to Dak, a tall Vexarian with blue-green scales and webbed fingers. The amphibious aliens dominated the station, considering themselves superior engineers, especially regarding underwater technology. When will humans learn that real progress requires leaving primitive methods behind? June didn't bother responding. 6 months on this station had taught him that arguments only encouraged them. Instead, he continued organizing his workspace for the day's repairs. "Leave him alone," said Hana Kim, one of the few other humans on the station. She worked in administration, managing the complex trading system that kept the salvage yard operating. Not everyone needs fancy computers to do basic work. Dak made a gurgling sound that passed for laughter among Vexarians. Basic is certainly the word for human technology. He walked away, his wet footprints evaporating quickly in the station's controlled atmosphere. Hana approached June's workbench. "You shouldn't let them get to you." "I don't," June replied, though they both knew better. He had been Earth's top submarine engineer before an incident ended his military career. Saving his crew by breaking protocol had earned him a discharge, rather than a medal. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of a massive transport vessel. Unlike the usual salvage ships, this one moved with purpose. It settled near the far end of the yard, its cargo doors opening to reveal something that immediately caught June's attention. "What is that?" he asked, squinting at the distant shape. Being offloaded, Hana followed his gaze. "Oh no, you don't want anything to do with that." But June was already walking toward it, drawn by professional curiosity. As he got closer, the shape became clear, a submarine, but unlike any he had seen before. Its hull was made of a dark material that seemed to shift colors as he approached, and its design suggested advanced technology despite the obvious damage. A group of Vexarians surrounded it, their expressions showing a mixture of frustration and disgust. "Another failure with the Phantom Tide?" Hana asked, catching up to June. "Phantom Tide? That's what they call it. It was found drifting in the deep void 5 years ago. Every engineer on the station has tried to repair it, but no one understands how it works. The Vexarians have been especially obsessed with it since submarines are their specialty." June circled the vessel slowly. Despite the alien design, he recognized certain features: propulsion systems, ballast controls, and what appeared to be sophisticated stealth technology. But there was something else, something hidden beneath the obvious components. "Who built it?" he asked. "Unknown. Some think it's Krellin, others say it's from the Meroran era, but that's impossible since they've been extinct for thousands of years." Tech, the lead Vexarian engineer, noticed June's interest. "Admiring something far beyond your comprehension, human?" "I think I could fix it," June said quietly, still examining the hull. The statement drew immediate laughter from the gathered Vexarians. Even Hana looked at him with concern. "You?" Tech's voice dripped with contempt. "Our best engineers have declared it beyond repair. What could a primitive human possibly see that we missed?" June ran his hand along a seam in the hull, feeling a slight vibration that suggested dormant systems rather than dead ones. Sometimes fresh eyes see things differently. Tech's gill slits flared in what June had learned was amusement. "Very well. I propose a wager. You have 30 cycles to make progress with the Phantom Tide. If you fail, you leave this station forever. If you succeed, well, you won't." The other Vexarians murmured in approval, already enjoying the thought of the humans' inevitable failure. Hana tugged at June's sleeve. Don't do this. They're setting you up. But June couldn't tear his eyes away from the submarine. Something about it called to him, a puzzle waiting to be solved. And after months of being dismissed and mocked, the chance to prove himself was too tempting to resist. I accept, he said, ignoring Hana's groan of dismay. I'll need access to all previous repair attempts and diagnostic reports. Tech's mouth curved into what passed for a smile among his kind. Of course, we have nothing to hide, unlike the secrets of this vessel, which will remain hidden from you, human. June wiped his forehead as he studied the complex wiring inside, the Phantom Tide's control panel. 2 weeks had passed since he accepted the Vexarians' challenge, and every day had been a battle. Not just against the submarine's mysterious systems, but against the constant sabotage and mockery. They cut the power to my section again, he muttered, connecting a portable generator he had built from scraps. The dim emergency lights flickered, on, casting strange shadows across the submarine's interior. The vessel was unlike anything in human or known alien design. Its systems seemed to operate on principles that defied conventional engineering. Where most modern ships relied on quantum processors and AI navigation, the Phantom Tide had analog backups and mechanical failsafes that seemed almost primitive, yet somehow more advanced at the same time. How is the impossible task going? Asked Suho, entering the submarine with a box of parts. The young Trinaxian had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on his face, all blinking at different times. Unlike most aliens on the station, Suho had approached June 3 days after he started working on the submarine, offering help. Better than they think, June replied with a small smile. Look at this. He pressed a sequence of buttons on what appeared to be a manual override panel. A soft hum filled the air as dormant systems began powering up. Lights across the control board blinked in sequence. That's impossible, Suho exclaimed, all 4 eyes wide open simultaneously, a sign of extreme surprise among his people. The Vexarians spent months trying to activate those systems. June nodded. They were looking in the wrong direction. They assumed the primary controls were digital, like modern ships. But this vessel has analog backups, the kind humans used before AI navigation became standard. He pointed to what looked like an ordinary maintenance panel. They saw this as just a basic diagnostic port, but it's actually a manual control system, primitive, but effective. Sometimes the old ways work when the new ones fail. Suho watched, in amazement as more systems came online. But how did you know? June's mind drifted back to his days in Earth's underwater defense force. 15 years serving on submarines had taught him to understand systems at their most basic level. When digital controls failed deep under the ocean, knowing how to operate manual backups could mean the difference between life and death. I recognized the patterns, he said simply. Some principles of underwater travel are universal regardless of who built the vessel. What he didn't mention was his discovery from the previous night. Components inside the submarine that matched descriptions of Mirroran technology. The Mirrorans were believed extinct for millennia, their advanced civilization vanishing without explanation. If this submarine contained their technology, it was far more valuable than anyone realized. A shadow fell across the entrance to the control room. Dak stood there, his scaled face twisted in contempt. Making progress with your toy, human? He asked, eyes narrowing at the activated control panel. Some, June replied cautiously, moving to block Dak's view of the most significant breakthroughs. Dak snorted. Tech wants an update on your futile project. The betting pool on your failure grows larger every day. After Dak left, Suho moved closer to June. Be careful. I've seen Vexarians coming here at night when you're not around. I think they're sabotaging your work. I know, June sighed. They've disabled systems I fixed, rewired connections incorrectly, even removed parts entirely. That's why I've started keeping the most important components with me. That evening, as artificial night fell across the station, June remained inside the submarine, hidden in a storage compartment he had converted into a sleeping area. He couldn't risk leaving his project unguarded anymore. As he reviewed his notes, he found patterns that confirmed his suspicions. The submarine had been deliberately disabled, not damaged by time or accident. Someone had methodically rendered it inoperable in ways that would baffle most engineers. "You're making remarkable progress," came a soft voice from the entrance. June looked up to see Mina Lee, a Korean trader who occasionally brought supplies to the station. Her small trading vessel carried goods between remote outposts, and she had become something of a friend to June. "Thanks," he said, surprised by her visit. "How did you know I was here?" "Hana told me." Mina glanced around nervously. "Listen, I need to warn you. The Vexarians are planning something. I overheard Tech talking about setting traps around your work area. They never expected you might actually succeed, and now they're worried." June nodded slowly. "I found things they missed. This submarine. It's special, Mina. It contains technology that shouldn't exist anymore." "Be careful," she whispered. "The Vexarians have controlled this station for decades because of their supposed technological superiority. A human proving them wrong threatens everything they've built here." After she left, June returned to the control panel. As his fingers traced the ancient symbols etched into the metal, the submarine seemed to respond to his touch. Systems that had been dormant for centuries were awakening one by one. "What secrets are you hiding?" he whispered to the vessel. As if in answer, a hidden compartment beneath the navigation console slid open, revealing a logbook made of a material that shimmered with an inner light. Inside were star charts to regions of space no modern map had ever recorded. The third week brought changes that rippled through Orbital Salvage Station 19. Whispers spread from deck to deck as systems on the Phantom Tide began lighting up one by one. Aliens who had laughed at June now paused at the entrance to his work area, watching with growing unease as the impossible happened before their eyes. "The propulsion system is responding," June told Suho as they tested the submarine's engines in dry dock mode. The gentle hum grew stronger, vibrating through the hull with surprising power. "I still don't understand how you did it," Suho said, his four eyes blinking in sequence. "The Vexarians claimed the drive core was completely fused." June smiled. "They tried to fix it using modern methods. This submarine works on different principles." He pointed to a series of circular dials that glowed with soft blue light. "See these? They're quantum navigation arrays, but they're designed to be adjusted manually. The Vexarians only tried digital interfaces." Word of June's progress spread quickly. Even some junior Vexarians began stopping by, their curiosity overcoming their prejudice. They asked careful questions when their superiors weren't around, studying the humans' methodical approach with growing respect. On the 19th day, June made his most significant discovery yet. Hidden beneath layers of ordinary systems was an advanced technology that defied explanation. "This can't be right," he muttered, checking his readings again. "According to these calculations, this navigation system is at least 3 centuries ahead of anything in current use." He was so absorbed in his work that he didn't notice the tall figure watching him from the shadows until a smooth voice broke his concentration. "Mr. Park." June turned to see a well-dressed human male with perfect posture and calculating eyes. Despite the casual stance, something about the man suggested danger. "My name is Director Kang. I represent Galactic Holdings Incorporated." The man offered a sleek business card that shimmered with embedded security features. "Our corporation has taken an interest in our project." "I'm just fixing a submarine," June replied cautiously. Director Kang smiled without warmth. "We both know it's far more than that. GHI is prepared to offer substantial compensation for your work here. Say, 10 million universal credits?" The sum was enormous, enough to buy a small ship and live comfortably for decades. But something about the offer felt wrong. "I'm not finished with my repairs yet," June said. "Of course. Take your time." Director Kang's eyes scanned the submarine with barely concealed hunger. "We'll be in touch again soon. Consider our offer carefully." After the man left, June's communication device lit up with an anonymous message. "The submarine is more than it seems. Trust no one. Narration technology is not meant for corporate hands." That evening, as June walked back to his quarters for fresh clothes, he found himself surrounded by 3 Vexarians in a deserted corridor. "Your luck is running out, human," hissed the largest one. Tech is losing face because of you. That can't continue. Before they could advance further, a commanding voice cut through the tension. Is there a problem here? Dae-hyun, the station's owner, stood at the intersection, his expression stern. Though elderly, the Korean man carried himself with authority that even the Vexarians respected. The aliens dispersed quickly, leaving June alone with Dae-hyun. Walk with me, the old man said, leading June toward an observation deck overlooking the vast junkyard. When they were alone, Dae-hyun's voice dropped to a whisper. That submarine wasn't abandoned, June, it was hidden. What do you mean? Dae-hyun sighed heavily. 30 years ago, I was part of a deep space salvage crew. We found the Phantom Tide drifting near the borders of known space. Our captain recognized its significance immediately and brought it here for safekeeping, disguised as worthless salvage. Safekeeping from what? From whom? Corrected Dae-hyun. There are powers in this galaxy who would kill to possess Mororan technology, or destroy it to maintain their technological monopolies. The submarine contains secrets that could shift the balance of power throughout known space. June thought of Director Kang's offer. Like Galactic Holdings? They're just one of many interested parties. The Vexarians have their own agenda too. Dae-hyun placed a weathered hand on June's shoulder. Be careful who you trust. The captain who brought the submarine here disappeared 3 days later. No trace was ever found. The next morning, June returned to the submarine with new determination. If what Dae-hyun said was true, the Phantom Tide wasn't just a challenging repair job. It was potentially the most important technological discovery in centuries. As he worked on the navigation system, a small group gathered to watch. Among them was Tech, the lead Vexarian engineer, his expression unreadable. The bet was that you couldn't repair it in 30 cycles, Tech said finally. You're making more progress than anticipated. Is that a compliment? June asked, surprised. An observation. Tech's gill slits flared slightly. Perhaps human methods have certain applications we overlooked. It wasn't much, but coming from a Vexarian, it was practically effusive praise. June nodded in acknowledgement and returned to his work. Later that day, as he activated another section of the control systems, the main view screen flickered to life for the first time. Strange symbols scrolled across it, shifting and changing, until they formed recognizable text. Mororan vessel Phantom Tide. Primary systems online. Awaiting authorized commander. On the 25th cycle, the atmosphere inside the Phantom Tide crackled with expectation. June stood at the central control panel, surrounded by a small team of outcasts who had joined his project. Jin-woo, a former Proxian naval officer with deep blue skin, monitored the power systems. Suho carefully checked atmospheric controls while Mina prepared emergency protocols. All systems are ready, Jin-woo reported. His six-fingered hands moved with practiced efficiency across the controls. Main power core stabilized at 80% capacity. June took a deep breath. Let's bring her fully online. He pressed his palm against the primary activation plate, a circular panel that had resisted all previous attempts to engage it. This time, it responded immediately to his touch, glowing with soft blue light. The submarine hummed to life around them. Systems, awakening one by one. Dimensional phase drive operational, Jin-woo announced, surprise evident in his voice. I've only read about this technology in theoretical papers. It shouldn't exist yet. The submarine's interior lighting shifted to a gentle amber glow as hidden panels opened throughout the vessel, revealing systems and capabilities far beyond what anyone had imagined. Displays showed weapons arrays, stealth technology more advanced than anything in current use, and most surprisingly, a dimensional phasing system that could potentially move the submarine between layers of reality. This isn't just a submarine, Suho whispered, all four eyes wide with amazement. It's a dimensional warship. June nodded slowly. The Mororans weren't just advanced, they were operating with a completely different understanding of physics. Through the viewport, June could see a growing crowd of station residents gathering to witness the submarine's revival. Some watched with awe, others with undisguised envy. Tech stood at the front, his expression a complex mixture of disbelief and reluctant respect. As the final systems came online, the main navigation console revealed something unexpected: star charts to regions of space thought mythical or unreachable. "The veiled sectors," gasped Jinwoo, looking at the maps. "They're supposed to be legends, space fairy tales. No modern ship has ever found them." Before June could respond, the submarine's external communication system alerted them to an incoming transmission. On the main screen appeared Tech, flanked by several official-looking Vexarians. "Park," Tech began, his tone formal. "By Station Salvage Law, Section 47, Paragraph 6, any vessel restored to operational capacity becomes the property of the species that originally manufactured similar technology. As the Phantom Tide is clearly a naval vessel, and Vexarians are the acknowledged masters of naval engineering, we are here to claim our property." June frowned. "That's a deliberate misreading of the law. This submarine wasn't manufactured by Vexarians." "The courts will decide," Tech replied smoothly. "Until then, we're placing the vessel under official seal. All non-Vexarian personnel must vacate immediately." Mina stepped forward. "They planned this all along. The moment you proved it could work, they were going to take it." The sound of heavy boots on metal interrupted their conversation. The station's alert system suddenly blared to life, red emergency lights flashing throughout the docking bay. "Attention all station personnel," came Daehyun's voice over the intercom, tight with urgency. "We have unauthorized vessels approaching. All security teams to defensive positions." Through the external cameras, June could see 5 black ships approaching the station. They bore no identification markings and moved with aggressive precision. "Galactic Holdings," whispered Daehyun, who had appeared at the submarine's entrance. "They've come for the Phantom Tide." The old man rushed inside, sealing the hatch behind him. "They've already boarded the station. Armed troops, military grade. This isn't a negotiation. It's a seizure." The first explosion rocked the docking bay, sending equipment crashing to the floor. Through the viewport, June could see Tech and the other Vexarians fleeing as smoke filled the area. "What do we do?" asked Suho, fear evident in his voice. June looked at the assembled group, aliens from different worlds, outcasts and misfits who had joined him when everyone else mocked his efforts. They had become more than colleagues in these past weeks. "They're after the submarine," he said firmly. "We can't let them have it. Not Galactic Holdings, not the Vexarians, not anyone who would misuse it." Another explosion. Closer this time. Warning lights flashed across the submarine's control panels. "Docking clamps damaged," reported Jinwoo. "We could break free, but we have nowhere to go." June's eyes fell on the navigation console, showing the mysterious veiled sectors. "Maybe we do." With quick, decisive movements, he activated the submarine's full systems. "Everyone who wants to live, get aboard now and secure yourselves. We're leaving." As the sounds of gunfire echoed through the station, the Phantom Tide's engines powered up to full capacity. The dimensional phase drive pulsed with energy, never before seen in modern ships. "Breaking free of docking clamps," announced Jinwoo, as the submarine shuddered. Through the viewport, June could see armed figures in black uniforms rushing toward them, weapons raised. Director Kang stood at the front, his face contorted with rage. "Set course for the veiled sectors," June ordered, "and activate the phase drive." The submarine trembled as reality itself seemed to bend around it. Then, in a flash of blue-white light, the Phantom Tide vanished from normal space, leaving behind a station in chaos and pursuers grasping at empty air. The Phantom Tide emerged from dimensional phase in a region of space unlike any June had ever seen. Outside the viewport, stars shimmered with unusual colors, and space itself seemed to pulse with gentle waves of energy. A massive structure floated nearby. Not a planet or station in any conventional sense, but a geometric marvel of interlocking rings and spheres that somehow conveyed both ancient wisdom and advanced technology. "Where are we?" Suho whispered, all 4 eyes fixed on the impossible structure. Before anyone could answer, The submarine's communication system activated. A gentle voice spoke in perfect, unaccented language that somehow everyone understood regardless of their native tongue. "Welcome, inheritors. The test is complete. Please dock at the central receiving bay." The phantom tide moved forward as if, guided by invisible hands, approaching a diamond-shaped opening in the structure. Inside was a docking bay far more advanced than anything on the salvage station, yet somehow familiar in its basic principles. "Should we trust them?" Mina asked, her hand hovering over the emergency controls. June nodded slowly. "I think we've been expected." As they docked, the team gathered near the airlock, uncertain what awaited them. The door opened to reveal a humanoid figure standing in a corridor bathed in soft blue light. The being looked almost human with subtle differences, eyes slightly larger, skin with a faint luminescence, fingers longer and more delicate. "I am Yoon, keeper of this outpost," the being said. "Please, follow me." They walked through corridors that seemed to blend technology and nature in ways that defied understanding. Living plants grew alongside control panels, and light itself appeared to be a conscious presence rather than a mere phenomenon. Yoon led them to a circular chamber where images of space floated in 3 dimensions around them. "You must have questions," she said. "You're Maroran," Daehyun stated, his voice filled with awe. "But your people disappeared thousands of years ago." Yoon smiled gently. "Not disappeared, withdrew. We chose to step back and observe rather than continue our path of technological dominance." "But why?" asked Jinwoo. "Because we saw where it led," Yoon explained. "Species across the galaxy were becoming dependent on technology they didn't understand. They operated machines whose principles they couldn't comprehend. They stopped learning the fundamentals and instead relied on automation and artificial intelligence." She gestured to the phantom tide, visible through a transparent wall. The submarine was a test, left for those who could see beyond surface technology. It was designed to function only for those who understood its basic principles, not merely its advanced features. That's why the Vexarians couldn't fix it, June realized. They were looking at the quantum processors and AI systems, but ignoring the mechanical backups and analog controls. "Precisely," Yoon nodded. "We needed to find species who valued true understanding over mere operation, who could improvise, adapt, and see potential in what others discard." She turned to June. "The human approach, your approach, June Park, was exactly what we hoped to find. You didn't just try to make the submarine work, you understood how it worked." "But why is that so important?" Mina asked. Yoon's expression grew serious. "Because the galaxy faces challenges that cannot be solved by technology alone. Problems that require understanding, creativity, and perspective that comes from struggle and limitation." She waved her hand, and the images around them changed to show various planets and civilizations. For too long, the dominant species have relied on technological superiority rather than comprehensive understanding. The Vexarians, the Proxians, even Galactic Holdings, they seek power through controlling advanced technology, not through mastering its principles. "And humans?" Daehyun asked quietly. "Humans are unique," Yoon replied. "Your species developed, in isolation, forced to solve problems with limited resources. You understand that technology is a tool, not a replacement for thought. You see connections others miss and value in what others discard." For 3 days, they remained at the Mararan outpost, learning secrets of technology that blended the mechanical with the quantum in ways that seemed almost magical. Yoon explained that the Marorans had been watching humanity's development with particular interest, seeing in them a balance of technological capability and fundamental understanding. On the 4th day, Yoon presented June with a small crystal device. "This contains star charts and technological principles that will benefit your species. Not weapons or power sources that could be misused, but knowledge to help humanity find its own path." "What happens now?" June asked. "You return," Yoon said simply. "The galaxy needs to understand that technological supremacy is not the only measure of advancement. True progress comes from understanding, not mere possession." The Phantom Tide departed the Meroran outpost fully restored, its systems now completely operational. As they prepared to phase back to normal space, June looked at his diverse crew, humans and aliens who had become friends through shared purpose. "Set course for Orbital Salvage Station 19, he said with a smile. 3 days later, the submarine emerged near the station. It looked different now, gleaming with power, its true purpose revealed in its elegant lines and advanced capabilities. June stood on the bridge as they approached, visible to all through the submarine's now transparent hull. A transmission broadcast throughout the station and beyond. The Meroran Collective formally recognizes humanity as technological equals and offers alliance. As they docked, June could see Tech and the other Vexarians watching in stunned silence. Galactic Holdings representatives stood nearby, their faces masks of calculation and surprise. June stepped off the submarine, the small crystal device from Yoon secure in his pocket. As Tech approached with a mixture of shock and newfound respect, June simply smiled. Sometimes it took a human touch to see the value in what others had thrown away, and sometimes that was exactly what the galaxy needed most.